Hello, everybody. How are you? This is not quite what I was expecting this masterclass to be. I did run this masterclass live last night, but unfortunately, the backside bottomed out of my internet about halfway through. And then when we finally got back into the swing of things again, I forgot to hit the record button. So I got about halfway through the second half and realized I hadn't pressed the record button. So instead of having like a 3-part, quite disjointed masterclass, I just thought I would re-record it just all by my little old self. So I'll try and keep the same kind of live energy as what I would if you guys were all in the room with me. It does play out a little differently, obviously, because I love having people in the room with me. I love the interaction. I love getting the feedback. I love calibrating the room. But it is what it is. And like, you have to be behaviorally flexible, don't you? Like, as Tony Robbins said, the most successful people are the most behaviorally flexible. So that's exactly what I'm doing. So it might be a little bit shorter than what it was last night, because it did actually go for an hour and a half. So yeah, it is what it is. So what we're going to be talking about in this masterclass is the difference between intuition, the divine guidance that we are given with, that we're born with, but we lose touch with, and fear. So what is fear? What is intuition? What's keeping us safe? What's divine guidance? And it's really important because we are here to explore certain themes and get certain experiences while we're in this meat suit, in having this life experience. And so we need to be guided to lead us to those themes and those experiences that we're here to explore in this lifetime. So it's really important that we discern between what is our intuition, our divine guidance, and what is the fear, the human part of us that continues to hold us back. It keeps us safe, but keeps us small and keeps us from living the life that we were designed here to be. So let's jump on board, shall we? I don't have to ask you to mute or anything like that because it's all me. It's all me. So hopefully my internet stays a-okay for this session for everyone. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm just going to make my screen a little bit bigger so I can get to the share screen. Oh, where's the share screen? Oh, sorry, here we are. Oh, no, not share screen, not that one. Share. Here we go. Right. I'm on. Okay, awesome. So how to tune into your inner compass, which is your intuition, your sacral pull, if you're into human design speak, how to tune into that and tune out the voice of fear to live the life that we were meant for. That's what it's all about. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm sure you all know me a little bit because you're here, right? But just to give you a little bit of background about what I'm all about, my name is Kerry Thorne. I am a 48-year-old mother of 2. So I've got a 16-year-old daughter and a 14-year-old son. I am a human design specialist. So I discovered human design 3 years ago. Absolutely lit me up. It was that perfect mix of science and woo-woo, and I fell in love and dived into it. I'm also an International Coaching Institute pro coach as well. Registered nurse. I'm still working as a registered nurse. And I am the creator of the Afternoon Shift, which is my signature coaching program. I love the whole other gamut array of shorter programs as well. So I absolutely love what I do in that space. Personal development, spiritual maturation, and expansion is what I'm all about. So why do I do what I do? I do what I do because of this particular quote by David Henry Thoreau. And it goes, "Men live lives of quiet desperation and go to their graves with their song still in them." And that quote, every time I say it, every time I share it, it just gets me in the feels every time because I feel the truth in it. It just smacks of the truth. I've seen it in my own family. I've seen it in my friends. And I think it is the biggest heartbreak that there is because we are all here to share our gifts, share our talents, share our message and our voice. And I think it's an absolute shame that we let so much BS get in the way of us doing that. So, why do men live lives of quiet desperation and go to their graves with their songs still in them? Let's have a little wee look. So, they do it because they don't listen to that inner compass. They are embodied in conditioning. We have been conditioned by our parents, by their belief systems, by their experiences. We have taken it on, and we take it on as our own. So childhood conditioning that keeps us safe, that keeps us small. Self-doubt and fear is also what gets in the way of us following our intuition and our inner guidance. And uncertainty, knowing or not knowing that when we follow what lights us up, what our divine guidance is leading us towards, we're not certain what the outcome's going to be. And that scares the bejeebers out of us. So we just think, you know what, I don't know if that's going to work out. So I'm just going to stick with what I know. Thank you very much. Because our brain's job is to keep us safe. And when we keep on doing what we're doing, the outcome can be predicted. And so that's what our brain loves. So every time we go and do something different, our brain's like, we don't know the outcome. We don't know if we're going to be safe if we do that. So just don't do that. Just stay where you are, stay safe and small, and we'll stay alive. And then I've done my job really well. Pretty much how the brain works. Okay. So we have very little self-trust. So that's why men live lives of quiet desperation and go to their graves with their songs still in them. Okay. So my journey, for lack of a better word, that word gives me the icks a little bit, but, reminds me of, American Idols. But for lack of a better word, my journey really started in my 40s, because they say life begins at 40, right? And that's really when I started to recognize my sacral light up, my intuition, my divine guidance, and started actually trusting it and backing myself every once in a while. So there were times in the last decade when I finally listened to my inner compass, not knowing where it was going to take me, not knowing what I was going to get out of it, not knowing where it was going to lead me, but I trusted it. I went for it, even in the face of friends, partner saying, what are you getting out of this? Like, you're not getting paid for this. You're not da-da-da-da-da for this. And it's like, you know what? I don't care. I just know that this is where I have to be and this is what I have to do. And the outcomes have been more amazing than what I could have ever imagined. So you can see here, I've got that picture with my Boss Babe friends. So Boss, for those of you who don't know, is a styling program, which I joined, I think 7 years ago now. And I was lit up by the entire program. For someone who thought she was going to be in, jeggings and baggy jumpers and Birkenstocks for the rest of her life, this styling group was amazing. I loved the culture. I loved the principles. I loved how the science behind it, and it lit me up. I jumped on that free On My Way page. Every thought in my head went onto that Facebook group. And Nat, who is the founder of the Boss in Your Program, sorry, Night Duty Brain. Nat, who is the founder of the Boss of Your Wardrobe program, noticed, and she's like, who is this girl taking over my page? And we interacted, we became friends. I ended up working for her. I worked for her for a good number of years in that Facebook group. We got lots of women signed up together to be the best version of them, or to just have them more confident of themselves in their dressing. And now, like, most of my coaching audience comes from that space, because it's all women who say yes to themselves, and that's really what I'm all about. So that's one time that I first started using when my intuition was like, do this, and I just did it. I did the program not knowing where it would take me, what it would bring me, and it brought me more than what I could have ever imagined. Then same when with human design. When I came across human design, it was that perfect mix of science and woo woo, and it just lit me up. And so I just started studying it. I brought Katie Irvine's sort of spiritual HD school, and I didn't know where it was going to take me, but I did it, and now my whole business is based on that, on the foundations of human design. And then joining the International Coaching Institute, again, I didn't even know really what coaching was until I responded to someone offering me a pro bono coaching session. Within 2 days, I signed up to ICI. It wasn't even I did no research. I just was like, bang, sacral light up. Yes, I'm in. And it was brilliant. It was brilliant. So without that following of that intuition and that divine guidance, I would still be just a nurse. And when I say just a nurse, there is nothing wrong with being just a nurse. But if I had stayed, if I had talked myself out of it with logic and trying to stay safe, I wouldn't have done any of those things. So, and that would have been a tragedy because I wouldn't be here now sharing all of this amazing information with you. So that would have been cray, right? So we are all here for a purpose. And I'm sure if you're here, you'd be putting your hand up in agreement with that statement. Like, I'm sure there's not a single person who is re-watching this masterclass who does not believe that we are here for a bigger purpose, that we have all got something to say, something to share, and we're all here for something greater than ourselves. So if you want to know what the meaning of life is, we are here to find the meaning of life. That's what the meaning of life is. Life actually has no meaning except for the meaning we give it. So we are all here to find that meaning and become the most authentic, kick-ass version of ourselves we can be. So we have come into this earth experience as a human in this meat suit to find out who we are. What are we made of? Who are we going to be? And we came to this life because there is no tougher spiritual challenge than being on earth in a human body. And I can tell you that all of the other celestial beings in the universe look at us with great interest and excitement because we are we have accepted this challenge. So we've come to this earth to explore certain themes and to get to know ourselves better. We came here because we wanted to explore things, we wanted contrast, and we wanted to experience certain things. And that's our soul contract. That's what we have decided that we want to explore while we're here in this lifetime. But when we don't follow that divine guidance, like the universe is trying to help us to explore those themes and to have those experiences, but we let our logic, our fear get in the way of that. So let's figure out how to move through the BS that gets us to the themes and the experience that we actually put our hand up at a soul level to explore while we're here in this meat suit. Okay? Okay. All right. So why do we need to know the difference between fear and intuition? So we need to know when our intuition is moving us in the direction we want to go in for the life we want to be living. Or is it our ego trying to keep us safe but stuck? So we need to know the difference between how those two feel. So we need to know whether we need to move forward on something or stay back, the timing's not right, or are we just buying into a limiting belief or a fear that is designed to keep us small and stuck? And it's hard to do because our bodies are a really bloody confusing place to be in. Like this human body has got so much going on in it. Like we are full of emotions, we are full of energy because everything is energy, right? we have all of these feelings, we get triggered by things. How on earth do we decipher what all this stuff that's going on is all about? How do we figure it out? So, I'm going to give you some really, really good tools to be able to help you to decipher for yourself what's fear and what's intuition. How does it feel like? What's it going to sound like? All the things. Okay. So, first of all, let's really dive into what fear is all about. So, let's have a definition of fear, the Oxford Dictionary, because what more reliable source is there, right? So, what is fear? Fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by threat of harm, danger, or pain. So, whenever our bodies, which are, our supernova, I was going to say, our unconscious superhero ego, which is always trying to keep us safe, is always on high alert for anything that is going to put us in either physical, emotional, psychological pain. It thinks that we can't handle any of those things. So our subconscious superhero ego is always on high alert, looking out for these things. And when it detects it, bang, it's going to hit the panic button and fear is going to be the response. So fear is instilled in us to keep us safe. And obviously, there are some fears that are reasonable. Like there are some things that we should definitely be scared of, right? It stops us from walking into oncoming traffic and jumping off of tall buildings. For some people, there are some people who are crazy enough to want to, bungee jump off buildings. Not me. but yet there are fears that, absolutely there are things that we should be fearing. But there's a whole shit ton of stuff that we don't need to fear. And these are the fears that have been learned throughout our lifetime and through our childhood that hold us back. So, did you know that we are only born instinctually with two fears? And those two fears are fear of falling and fear of loud noises. So, baby coming fresh out of the womb, the only two things that they're going to be scared of is falling and loud noises. And everything else that we are afraid of in this lifetime has been learned on some level, either through a belief system that we've adapted from our parents, family, friends around us. We've learned it telepathically through our parents. In some way, shape, or form, we have learned it. So a lot of the fears that we have, actually not ours. They don't even belong to us. So these are the fears that I'm going to be talking about today, because these are the ones that we tend to play into a fair bit. Okay. So what are these fears that hold us back? Not the ones that keep us out of physical danger, but what are the fears that hold us back from being the fullest, most fully expressed version of ourselves that we can be? The fear that stops us from following that divine guidance and intuition that we have all been gifted with. We all have access to this, but we've lost touch with it. So, what are these fears that hold us back? They are the fear of not being enough. And Tony Robbins would argue that that is the one overarching fear that holds us back from everything. And he's probably right. So every fear that we have, every fear-based behavior that we do can be chunked up to these fears. So fear of not being enough is the number one fear. Fear of not being liked or lovable. Oh, if I do that, they're not going to like me as much. Or if I do that, they're not going to love me as much. Like, I'm sure who can relate to that? A lot of the things that we do is based off of the fact that if we do it, they won't like us. Okay. Our need to be liked and loved, huge. Fear of not being worthy. I don't deserve this. Who can relate to that one, right? Fear of not belonging. if I be the most fully expressed version of myself that I can be, if I follow what lights me up and my divine intervention, intuition, if I truly do and be what I am here to do and be, I'm not going to belong in my family. Where do I sit? Where's my place now? So that fear of not belonging comes into it. Fear of judgment. Oh, how many times have we been stopped in our tracks because we feel we're going to be judged for doing it? Fear of judgment has been one of the things that I have definitely not really stopped following my intuition to move towards something, but it has definitely made me ignore the times when my intuition has said no. Because here's the thing, like, your intuition is not always going to be a yes, do this, yes, do this, yes, do this. Sometimes your intuition is going to be, mm-mm, don't, uh-uh, nuh-uh. And you'll feel your body moving away as well. You go, nope. So those intuitive no's are just important as those intuitive yeses. I did share a story on my Facebook personal page a couple of days ago now regarding when I ignored my intuitive no. And it was a huge lesson for me. Like, obviously I needed to learn that lesson on some level. But yeah, my intuition, my body, the whole time was screaming at me, no, no, no. It was an interaction with a person who did not have my best interests at heart. Actually, this has happened a couple of times where I've ignored my nose. Not my nose, my intuitive nose, where I have not allowed myself the space to listen to my intuition, and I've said yes to things when my intuition was going and I've paid the price, like financially, emotionally, psychologically. So those no's are just as important as the yeses. But the reason why I ignored my intuitive no was because I didn't want to be judged for being judgmental. Now I say it like that, how like ridiculous, right? I didn't want to be judged for being judgmental. These people were like, very love and light and spiritual, and I didn't want to be seen as being judgmental around that. I wanted to be open and be open to new experiences and open to thinking in different ways. But no, they were actually manipulating me. So so trust those no's as well. So that fear of judgment is absolutely real. It gets us into people pleasing and all sorts of shenanigans that are not for us. So fear of judgment is another fear that holds us back. And the fear of, if we are not enough, if we are not lovable, if we are not worthy, if we don't belong, and if we are being judgy, if we are perceived in that way, if we're not loved, we're not lovable, we're not worthy, that we won't be able to handle it. That's another fear. One of the biggest fears that we have, the book, what's it called? Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. The number one fear is that if something happens, we won't be able to handle it. That's the number one fear. Crazy, right? So these are fears that we learned primarily as children, sometimes as young adults, but usually, by the time you hit your mid-20s to 30, all of these fears are kind of cemented into place. So all of these fears we learned as children, and we have created strategies to avoid the discomfort of these fears. And I'm going to be going into those in the next couple of slides, okay, what it looks like, okay? But yeah, we have learned different ways to avoid these fears. Quick example would be, as a child, you are being a little bit rowdy. Like, as a kid, we always play, we get rowdy. Mum comes in. You need to keep it down. I've got a headache and I've had enough and I need some peace and quiet. So in your mind, you're like, oh, mum's upset with me. Mum is my number one source of love and affection and food and shelter. I can't upset her. So I need to be quiet and I need to not be loud. So I need to not be myself. So I will be more lovable to her. as an example. So then we become the good girl or the quiet one. And then we get rewarded for, oh, you've been such a good girl. You've been sitting there so quietly and beautifully. What a good girl. Reward. There you go. So that's how all of this self perpetuates as an example. So I hope you can relate to that or not, because I don't want you to be safe and small. I want you to be loud, loud and proud and big. Okay. When does fear show up? When does our brain hit that panic button and go, oh, this feels uncomfortable? I'm going to hit the fear button and what? And then that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response starts. So obviously, when we're talking fear, we're talking fight, flight, freeze, fawn response, reaction, trigger. Okay. So when does fear show up? When does our brain hit that panic button? When we are about to try something new. Our brain hates change because the outcome's not certain. So every time we try and change something up or we do something different, our brain's like, oh, no, there's no certainty around this. I don't know the outcome. So hit the fear button. And then we're like, oh, actually, well, maybe not. And then we convince ourselves that that fear might be our intuition holding us back. This is why it's important to know the difference between the two. So when we're about to try something new, fear kicks in. When we are going to challenge or confront someone or something, oh, who here loves confrontation? No one likes confrontation, unless you're Elaine Bennis of the Seinfeld, who is the queen of confrontation. But yeah, usually when we need to communicate something that we know that someone else is going to disagree with, fear shows up because of that fear of not being loved or liked, fear of not belonging, all the things. When the outcome is uncertain, so when we're going to try something, well, again, try something new or try something when we're not quite sure what's going to happen, what the outcome's going to be, that frightens the bejeebus out of us. We love control because there's safety in it. There is safety in sameness. And so that's when fear shows up. When we see or experience something that reminds us of a time when we got hurt before. So if we witness a similar situation, or if we find ourselves in a situation in which we were hurt, either physically or mentally before, that's going to show up as fear. And then thinking about an uncertain future. That's exactly what anxiety is. Anxiety is worrying about something that actually hasn't happened yet. And again, not knowing the outcome. So that's when fear will often show up. Okay, so I'm sure that you can relate to one or all of those things, and you'll recognize the fear in the body, which we're going to be talking about what the body feels like when we're in fear. So, what does fear look like? So, when fear shows up, you might find yourself doing these behaviors to alleviate the discomfort of the fear and avoid the discomfort. So, you could play the victim. Procrastination, show of hands. Who's the procrastinator? That is a fear-based behavior. And you're avoiding the discomfort of maybe getting it wrong and being judged, not belonging, not being enough, all the things. So procrastination is a fear-based behavior. You could be bullying someone or being the victim of bullying. Either way, it is asserting your control to alleviate the discomfort of not being in control. Scrolling social media or any type of addiction is what you do when you are in fear. You're avoiding discomfort by distraction, by doing something else that feels better. You lash out at people. I'm going to get you before you get me, so I don't have the discomfort of rejection, of not belonging. Perfectionism. I'm not going to start unless I know for sure I'm get it right, because if I fail, I'm going to be judged. You can see how all of this plays out, but we do it without thinking. These are unconscious behaviors. So what I really, really want to say about that is if you are, and this is just a small snippet of things, there are probably like 130 odd. I think Remy Pearson actually did a list of the things that you do to avoid discomfort. And she had a list of like 138 different things, like crazy what we do. But none of this, if you find that you're like, oh my God, I do that, I do that, I do that, I do that, I do that. don't beat yourself up because you are not consciously doing any of this. All of this is unconscious behaviors that we adapted as children. And because we don't know any differently, we keep on doing it. So if you find that you are avoiding, that you play the victim, that you scroll social media endlessly, if you self-sabotage, if you're a martyr, if you're a people pleaser, if you're a perfectionist, any of these things, I do not want you to start kicking your own backside over it, because these are unconscious. You are not consciously going, oh, you know what? This trying something new makes me feel really, really uncomfortable. So I'm going to self-sabotage to avoid that. None of us are consciously thinking this. So please do not beat yourself up about doing any of these behaviors, because it's unconscious. But when you start to bring the unconscious and make it conscious, bring awareness to it, then you can actually do something about it. This is why I share all this stuff. Who was it? Someone very famously said, where if you don't make the unconscious conscious, we keep doing it and we call it fate or something. I can't remember who said that, but like, it's so true, right? We keep on finding ourselves in these patterns and we just think, oh, this is just my lot in life. It's actually not. You just need to bring consciousness to the unconscious. Okay. So that's what fear is all about and what it looks like when we're in it and why it's there, right? I hope that I've made that really clear. What I would love, love, love you guys to do, and I hope that you're taking notes throughout this. If you have any questions, and if you're watching this in the replay and it's in the Expansion Project Facebook group, I would love for you to put your comments in the comments section as a question and tag me so I can answer them for you. Okay, so if you're taking notes and you have any questions, please put them in the comments in the group. And what that does as well is it boosts the algorithm so other people go, oh, what's this? And they get to watch it and share in this juicy juju as well. Okay, so that's what fear is all about. Let's just have a little drink, shall we? Okay, so what's intuition? If we know what fear feels like, what's intuition all about? Let's have a look. So intuition is like a download. It's something that just drops in. It's a sudden realization out of nowhere. It's usually something you're not thinking about. It's just drops in like an inner knowing, like, oh, I know what I know. I don't know how I know it, but I just know it. Okay. It's an inner knowing. It doesn't have any evidence. It's a belief. It's a faith. It doesn't have a story around it. It just is. It's receiving over thinking. So you're not often sitting there thinking about it and nutting it all out. It just sort of drops in. And it's not to say that when you're not thinking about something, it doesn't help that intuitive process. I have actually, like, when it comes to especially this topic, because I've really dived into the difference of the feelings of what is fear and what is intuition. And I have made pages and pages and pages of notes around fear, emotions, intuition, body feeling, all that sort of thing. So thinking about it doesn't hurt the intuitive process, but I haven't had the answers sitting there nutting it all out on a piece of paper. What I've done is I've thought about it and I've nutted it all out, and then I've walked away from it. And then the knowledge at a later time, when the timing's correct, drops in, and it's like a puzzle piece that's like, oh, I can't find where this fits, I can't find where this fits, I can't find where, click. And it might be an altered brainwave state that I needed to be in to get the download, which is a whole other topic. When you're in theta brainwave, I love theta brainwave. If I could be in it all the time, I would. But yeah, maybe it needed to be right timing, the right brainwaves, whatever it is, but it will just drop in and it'll be like, oh, right, now I get it. So there's a little bit of intelligence and a little bit of intuition that goes into it as well. So, yeah, but you're not often, it's said that Einstein, with his theory of relativity, like his E equals mc squared, he wasn't actually nutting it out on the blackboard. It actually came to him when he was sick with the flu and not thinking about it at all. So it's a store, it's receiving, it's an intuitive knowing, it's a dropping in, it's a download, it's a sudden realization, and it just is. It just feels like the truth. And you know it when it drops in. You just know it. There's no evidence. You just have to trust it. So my mate Bashar, who I listen to on YouTube all the time, he is a channeler of an entity called Bashar. This guy Daryl Akron, I think his name is, off the top of my head. Anyway, YouTube videos all over the place about this guy. The way that he describes intuition or universal guidance is everything is energy, right? If you really want to blow your mind, thinking that everything around you, our bodies, every inanimate object that we have, is actually vibrating atoms, just vibrating at different densities and frequencies. So nothing is actually real. Let that bake your brain for a minute, right? For a red hot minute. Or so the universe, because everything's energy, the universe can only speak to you through energy. And emotion is energy in motion. So when you feel high vibrating emotions like joy, like excitement, like passion, like abundance, like love, when you feel those high vibe emotions, because it's energy in motion, that's the universe telling you that thing's for you. This is you. And the reason why it feels good is because we all have a signature vibration. And when something is vibrating at a similar level to us, it feels really, really good. We recognize it. We're like, oh, this is of us, so this must be for us. So the universe speaks to us through energy. So when we're feeling passion, we're feeling excitement, it locks into that key signature vibration. That is us on a soul level. We recognize it, and it's the universe's way of saying, this is for you, follow this thing. You know, those themes and those experiences that you wanted on a soul level before you came into this body, this is going to lead you to that. So follow it, is basically what it's saying. Okay. So it's the way that the universe communicates to us is through that energy. So same goes, big nose, of when it feels really light, that's the universe saying, yes, this is for you. When it feels dense, when it feels heavy, when it's an emotion like sadness, fear, grief, what are the other low vibe stuff? Sadness, fear. It's usually fear, anxiety, all of those emotions that feel dense and heavy. That's the universe going, nah, you are out of alignment. The way that Esther Hicks or Abraham Hicks describes it is you've got a higher self and you've got your human self. And when you're feeling low density, low vibe emotions that just feel heavy, that don't feel good to be feeling, your spirit self and your human self are not on the same page. So then you need to consciously bring your emotions up to a higher level, because your higher self is never going to come down and meet you. You've got to come up and meet it. So that's a couple of little ways on how to recognize when you're feeling low vibe and why it's important to get yourself up there. Okay. So what does intuition and fear feel like in your body? How do you recognize when one or the other is the other? Okay. So let's have a look. So a great set of, oftentimes when you can language something, you can do something about it. You can action it. If you can speak it, you can do something with it. Okay. So intuition, what intuition feels like, what that divine guidance feels like is expansion. That's why I named my Facebook group the Expansion Project, because it's all about learning expansion through joy, through growth. So expansion is what it feels. It feels like, oh, I'm more of myself. It feels good. It feels light. It feels like passion. It feels like excitement. It feels like, yes, this is the choice I want to make. It feels like you've got choice. It feels like you've got options. It feels like clarity. It feels like I am so clear that this is what I want. This is me. This is my vibration. It feels like freedom. It feels like self expression. It feels like creativity. It feels like truth. It's just a knowing. And it feels like you are closer to who you are here to be. Really important. It just feels good. It just feels good. What does fear feel like? Fear feels like you have no choice. You're trapped. My survival is at risk if I don't stay here, or if I don't, if I do that thing, I will die, or I will not be enough. I won't belong. All the things. I won't be loved. Won't belong. I'll be judged. Blah blah blah. Okay, so it feels like there is no choice. I have to choose this choice. It feels like constriction. You will feel it in your body. You'll feel it right in here. It feels small, tight, and heavy. It feels like constriction. It feels like you're trapped. Okay. It feels heavy. As I said before, your survival is at risk. It feels like you will die if you don't choose the choice that you're making. So, because you've got no choice, basically. You will overthink it. Oh, well, if I do this, and then, but what if this happens? And then if that happens, and then if this happens, and if that happens. So it's overthinking. It's like a rat in a cage, like doing the little spinny thing on the wheel. You will rationalize why you have no choice. Well, of course I have no choice. If I do this, I'm not going to have any money for this. And then little Tommy can't go to camp. So of course I have to do this. I'm stuck. I'm trapped. I've got no choice. You'll rationalize why you're not making the choice and why you're staying in fear. It creates a story. Oh, well, I need to do this because 5 years ago, when I went with my intuition, I lost a whole heap of money and it didn't turn out the way that I expected it to. So I'm going to stay in it. So it creates a story. It brings you, if you can think of fear as walking out of one room and sort of being pushed around by, and then go, oh, I don't like this room, walk into it, and you're pushed around. That's what fear feels like. You feel like you never get anywhere, like you're walking through wet cement. It feels like lack of action. I'm just gonna stay here because I'm too scared to make any moves around anything else. Okay. It feels like stuckness, and it feels like temptation for not going what you want. It's not safe to, not safe. So I'm just going to stay here. It's logical. It seems sensible. It's a sensible decision to just stay here and not do that thing. That's what fear feels like. So how do you know that what is fear and what is intuition? Oftentimes we will feel intuition and we'll know, but then fear will jump in. Oh, I really want to do this thing. Yeah, but can you afford it? Yeah, but what would people think if you did? Yeah, but wouldn't people think that you were selfish if you did that? Yeah, but so we will have our intuition, but then the fear will jump in. Okay. So how do you know what is fear versus intuition? So intuition feels like that inner knowing. It feels like clarity. It comes out of nowhere. It's not going to explain itself or give you a story. It's just going to go do this. But why? Not tell them. Just do it. Just trust. Just trust. Won't explain itself. It'll feel like an intuitive hit. There won't be any story around it. There won't be any reason why it's leading you towards that. When I joined the boss program, there was no reason for that. I thought to myself, when fear was sneaking in and saying, oh, if you spend this money on yourself, people are going to think you're selfish. I had no reason to join boss. Like, who's looking at me? That was the thought in my head. No one's looking at me. Who cares what I'm wearing? But it had no reason. Like, it was like, yeah, just do it. Just do this. You want to. And it will feel like excitement and passion and expansion. Fear. is going to feel heavy in your system. It's going to feel energetically heavy. It's going to make up a whole shitload of stories about why you need to stay in it, why it's the sensible choice, why it seems logical to do it. And not to say that logic doesn't have its role, but don't let it hold you back from what it is you want to do. It will rationalize. Well, look, if you don't do what you really want to do later, then maybe later when the kids are a bit older, you might be able to do it. But not now. Not now. Stay where you are for now. Rationalize it. Seems sensible. It will be you will hesitate to move on anything. It will fill you with self-doubt. You will be confused. Oh, should I? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I want to, but I can't really do it. It will feel like ugh, and it will feel like constriction and contraction in your system. It just feels crap, really, is the best way to describe it. It just feels crap. So I promised a little bit of human design in this, and here it is. So how human design, how the way that you are designed, what I love about human design is it's just specifically about the vehicle, about the meat suit that we've been given for this lifetime, and how to feel into it, how to operate it. It's like, okay, you're going to be riding this rally. This is the car that you've been given, and it's about understanding the car and its capabilities and how it works. It's very, very cool. If anyone, of course, obviously wants human design readings, I am here for it. I think it's the best way to help you understand how it is that you are here to move through this life experience. It's incredible. Helps you to understand the gifts and the talents and the themes. So the gifts and the talents that you were born with to help walk through this life with, and some of the themes that you were here to explore. So when you're looking at your unconscious design, a lot of soul contract stuff in there, I believe. That's my belief. Anyway, where was I? So the two main things, the two main energy centers that affect your intuition and your fear is your head center and your splenic center. So obviously, head center, splenic center. So when you look at your human design chart, those are the two things that I'm just looking at specifically for this. There's a little bit more to it, of course, obviously. It's always a lot more complicated, but I'm just trying to keep it really simple. So when it comes to your energy centers, when you're looking at your human design chart, you will have centers that are colored in, and you will have centers that are not colored in. So the centers that are colored in are called defined centers. You have got consistent access to these centers. These centers are always on, and you're boop, 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 transmuting them out into your aura. So it's like a radio that you are always transmitting this energy from, okay? When you have an undefined energy center, what you're doing is it's like a satellite dish. You take in energy and you amplify it. You make it bigger, but it's not consistent. It's only when that energy is around you. So when you have got undefined centers, you take on the energy of those around you. So you are being conditioned by the energy that's around you because you're taking it on. Now, this is not always a bad thing. Sometimes you want to take on other people's energy because that energy is really useful and helps you to understand who you are more. If it feels good, you can set boundaries around it. But what it means is when you have got these open or undefined centers and you're taking on the energy of other people, you're taking on their conditioning and you're taking on that energy. So when you're thinking of the head center being undefined, 70% of the population have got their head center undefined. So this is the vast majority of people. The head is the home of inspirational ideas and wisdom. Okay. But it is also, because they're the yin to every yang, it is also the home of doubt, confusion, and questions. So if you have got an undefined head center, not only do you take on the ideas of an inspiration around you and amplify it, but you also take on the doubts, the questions, the confusion, the suspicions of people around you as well. So this can lead to a lot of anxiety. This can lead to thinking about things that don't matter. So this can lead to you overthinking and putting you into a fear response. So, what I would say to you, and what I say in a lot of my human design readings when it comes to open centers, especially like the head, the emotional solar plexus, the root where we take on stress and adrenaline energy, what we need to do is be a screen and not a sponge. Be the observer of our thoughts and those questions, because a lot of them are from other people's energy. They're not our own. Okay. But if you have an undefined or open head, which, as I say, 70% of us do, we do take on a lot of questions and a lot of other people's confusion and anxiety. So, just something to be aware of. Be witness to your thoughts and let them pass through like a sieve. Don't soak them up like a sponge. Okay. And then we're talking about the spleen as well. So the spleen center, which is this one here, is the home of intuition, instinct, health, right timing, and fear. So it's an awareness center. So when you have that defined, you have got consistent access to your intuition. So the voice of your intuition, which is quick and quiet and speaks only once, by the way, so it's a soft whisper in your ear, but you have consistent access to that. So it feels consistent. You recognize it when you hear it a lot of the time. If you have an open or undefined spleen, you take on the intuitive energy of those around you and amplify it. So it's not that you don't have access to your own intuition, but because you take on the intuitive energy of everyone around you, when you hear the voice of your own intuition, because you hear the voice of other people's intuition and you take it on amplify, you may not recognize your own when it's trying to speak. Okay. So one of the ways quickly that I can help you to combat that, time out in nature. It's the center for processing fear as well. So the reason why I say get out in nature is because us humans, we fear a lot of crap we actually don't need to fear, the same fear that was instilled in us when we were in caves and we stepped out of the cave and we could very well get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. That fear is the same fear that we have now if we open up our computer and we see an email from our boss and we're like, what's this about? So our fear is sullied by things it doesn't need to be scared of, okay, as I've just explained enough in fair amount of detail beforehand. But when you go out in nature, nature only fears what it needs to fear. It's only going to fear what's going to eat it or kill it, basically. So, and everything is born with splenic energy. So insects, plants, grass, dogs, cats, animals, birds, everything has got that intuitive, that intuition, that instinct to survive. So when you go out in nature, when you get out of the auras of other people and you are in the aura of just pure nature, that's going to help you to really tune in to your own splenic voice, your own intuitive voice. So those quiet times out in nature, not around anyone else, is going to help you recognize your own voice. Okay. So I hope that serves you all. And isn't it interesting to find out how human design can work through all of this? I would love to know. Let me know in the comments. Do you have a defined head or a defined spleen? I think the difference between the spleen, I think it's like 54% of people have got defined spleens. So 48% have got undefined spleens. Okay. And there's a whole lot more to the energy centers as well. If you get human design readings, we go deep into this and it's incredible. Okay. So next thing, how do you know when it's your intuition? How do you know when it's fear holding you back? How do you know? I want to know for certain. Kerry, give me a list of boxes to tick so I know when it's my intuition and I follow it. I just want to know. Just give me the checklist, give me boxes, give me certainty, please, Kerry. I know that's what you're all saying. How do I know when it's my intuition? You don't. You're all let down. That's it. You're all throwing your phones out the car window now. That's it. That's it. If you can't tell me, I'm out. You don't always know when it's your intuition. I have given you some really good tools to help you to be able to recognize it, but you never know for 100%. It is all about trust, self trust, and universal trust that the universe has got your back, and experimentation, trying it. Oh, I feel like this is my intuition. I'm going to back myself and I'm going to follow it and I'm going to see what happens. And I'm going to trust that no matter what happens, it was necessary and I'm going to handle it. That's the trust, and that is the experimentation, and that is the only way that you're going to ever really know. So, Sheila Gillette, another channeler, she says, challenge is the curriculum of life, and we have come here to learn. When we came into this earth experience, into this meat suit, we opted to have everything we know about spirit, collective consciousness, all the things. We opted to have all that shit wiped so we could really learn, really test our mettle, really understand who we were. And we came here for challenge. We wanted it. We wanted it. How crazy is that, right? How crazy is that? We wanted it because this earth experience, from a spiritual point of view, is like the Tough Mudder of all spiritual experiences. I see people sign up for that Tough Mudder and I'm like, are you people crazy? But they want the challenge. They want to see what they're made of. They want to see who they are being when the chips are down and when things are really hard. We put our hands up for this. As a spirit, we said, put me in, coach. I'm ready. I want to know who I am. I want contrast. I want challenge. I want to know what I'm made of. Who am I being when the chips are down and when it's hard? Crazy, right? So trust that what you are feeling is what you are feeling. If it feels like intuition, trust it's your intuition, right? People, we talk ourselves out of it so much. If we have this inner knowing, just go, okay, I know what I know. I don't know how I know it, but I just know it. And trust it. Back yourself. Have self-trust and self-belief. If you're wrong, who gives a shit? We're infinite beings. We're here forever. We're going to change forms, but we're always going to exist. So who cares, right? Who cares? If you get it wrong, who gives a shit? So trust what you are feeling is what you are feeling. You know, if we see a feather and we're like, oh, a feather, it's a sign. And then your conscious brain goes, don't be stupid, dickhead. It's just a feather. And you're like, yeah, okay, well, can I have a more signier sign, please? Trust it's your intuition. If your feather means something to you, it means something to you. And that's okay. Trust it. Trust it. Okay? Trust. Experiment. Do the thing. Follow your excitement. Follow your passion. Follow your joy and see what happens. And just know that whatever happens was meant to happen and it was the path to you knowing who it is that you are here to be. Okay? Even if it doesn't work out the way that you think it's going to, release any expectation of what it should look like and trust that whatever lessons and whatever happens is exactly what needed to happen for you to know and be more of who you are. Okay? Cool. And trust also that whatever happens, you are going to handle it because you have survived 100% of your hardest days. You are still here. Trust that whatever happens in the moment, you're going to know what to do and you'll handle it. Okay? Right, good. So, as I say, this life is the Tough Mudder of spiritual experiences. We put our hand up for this shit. Okay? So, embrace it. If you get it wrong, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Those who mind don't matter, and those that matter don't mind. Dr. Zeus. Very fair. Very clever. Okay. So, if you decide to keep staying in your fear, if you think, I mean, because this is just my opinion. You don't have to do anything that I say just because I said it. You follow your own path. Don't freaking listen to me if none of this resonates. Just turn off your phone, computer, whatever it is you're listening to this on, and say, bugger off, Kerry. No, don't believe it. If it doesn't feel like truth to you, ignore it. But if you want to stay in fear, if you want to keep on sticking with what's safe and what feels constricted, you are going to end up feeling stuck permanently. You are going to be filled with self-doubt always. You will never trust yourself. You will never back yourself. You will constantly be in frustration, in anger, in bitterness, in disappointment. You will find that you will be getting sick all the time because you are denying your universal gift of this is your vibration. Oh, you keep on denying it. Okay. This is here, this is for you. No, no, no. And you're going to find yourself feeling sick, getting injured. Your body is going to start telling you, it's going to start slowing you down. So you listen to your intuition. I'm giving you all of these things. Why aren't you listening? Let's strike you down with a dose of COVID, shall we? So you actually slow down, stop and listen. So you'll find that this will be happening. And eventually it'll lead to burnout. The not self human design theme. So when you are out of alignment from a human design perspective, anger is the not self theme for manifestors. Frustration is the not self theme for generators and manifesting generators. Bitterness is the not self theme of projectors. And disappointment is the not self theme for reflectors. So if you are constantly in any of those not self themes, if you're constantly feeling angry, frustrated, bitter, resentful, disappointed, know that you're playing interfere and you're not following your intuitive lead. Okay. But if you decide to follow your joy, follow your passion, follow what lights you up, follow your intuition, your divine guidance, watch the synchronicities start lining up. Have you ever heard the saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears? Synchronicities, things start lining up, opportunities start lining up. You will start being more creative in your world. You will start feeling more clearer on where your path is. Things will just flow. Things will just feel easier. There will be an effortlessness to it. It will feel like love and joy and abundance. Abundance is what you need when you need it. It's not millions of dollars flowing in your bank account, which would be nice. I get it. But abundance is having what you need when you need it, or doing what you want to do when you want to do it. That's abundance, right? Because money's a means to an end, right? And understand that whenever you follow your intuition, it's only ever going to give you what you need to process. So if it's a challenge, if you follow your intuition and it comes up to be a challenge, you needed that challenge to understand the themes and the experiences that you wanted to explore in this lifetime. What you need to process, what you need to look at, what you need to be in alignment with to be your true self and find out who you really are. Test your mettle, okay? So that is what you get if you follow your intuition and if you follow your fear. But as I say, you don't got to do a damn thing. You don't got to do none of it if you don't want to. So how can we tune into our intuition more? What are the tools that we have? We are all born with intuition. We are all born with this gift and this divine guidance. Anything else is a permission slip. Like if you need a crystal to make you feel as though, right, oh, when I've got this crystal, this is my time to meditate and I feel clarity and creativity when I'm holding this crystal. Buy the damn crystal. Who cares? Like, it's a tool. It's a permission slip for you to be more of yourself. Okay. So there are tools that you can use to tune into your intuition. So it can be crystals. It can be cards. As you guys know, I am mad for an oracle and tarot card. Love it because it's the divine message. It's a tool that I use to keep in touch with the creator. Divining rods. This is hilarious. I've actually just bought some of those, those divining rods that you hold and they cross over for yes and they stay apart for no. I've actually just bought those on Temu. I don't know how spiritually aligned Temu is for buying, divining rods, but I'm all for the experience. I felt called to buy them. I've been looking at them for a while. And I'm like, what is stopping me? It's $25, Kerry. Buy the damn rods. And the first thing I'm going to ask it was, were these divining rods a waste of money? Ooh. How funny would that be? I'll film that. That'll be good. Pendulums. There are 1,000 courses online that you can do to help you to tune into the voice of your intuition and get that divine guidance. There are heaps of things that you can do. Whatever feels aligned to you. Okay. How else to tune into your intuition? Quiet and calm. Calm your mind. And this is difficult, especially if you're new to it. Like I often thought, I can't meditate. That was my thing. And I was told by a meditation expert, Laura Scott, very good meditation lady if you're looking for one. She said, look, your brain is designed to think, it's going to think, and your body is designed to go, it's going to want to go. But it's about you asserting control over both of them. It's about being witness to your thoughts and letting them pass through, be a sieve, not a sponge, and recognizing them, but not attaching any meaning or holding on to them, and telling your body, no, we are staying put. So, and when you quiet your mind, I always love to think of it as like when the sea of your emotions and thoughts are calm, the moon can be clearly reflected in the water. And that reflection is what creation's trying to tell you. So I love that. I love that analogy. If that serves you, please use it. So quiet and calm, meditation, and self-care. When you are doing what you love, when you are doing things that are fun, that expands your magnetism and brings to you the things that are for you. It raises that vibration up to your signature vibration level and brings those things to us. We all have, I mean, generators and manifesting generators, we have got this sacral, which is like a big fat magnet, but every energy type has got a magnetic monopole in their G center, which attracts good things to us when we are feeling high vibe thoughts and emotions. Okay. So that is how we tune into our intuition. So what do we need to move through to trust that intuition, to be able to back ourselves and go, yes, I'm going to follow this. And if I get it wrong, I'm still going to be okay. All right. So what do we need to work on? These are what I call the 7 slays. Okay. So the main guts of what I talk about a lot is understanding how fear works in all its forms. Okay. What is it? Oh, here we go. My computer is doing its thing. Let me just stop. My computer is computing. It does this every now and again. Okay. Oh, good. We're back on track. Excellent. Okay. It wouldn't be a Kerry Thorne masterclass if this didn't stuff up every now and again. How do I share the screen again now? Here we go. Okay. I think probably everyone has every device in the place going as well. Oops, that's a bit too big, Kerry. Don't need me that large, do I? So what do we need to work on? This is, if you can slay these 7 things, you're going to win at life. 100%. Okay. So understanding fear in all its forms. What is fear? Why is it here? Or why is it her? Could be a her, who knows? How it shows up, how to process fear. Number one foundational piece, I would probably say, when it comes to my personal development content, probably 70% of that stuff is about understanding fear and moving through it. Holding uncertainty, knowing that no outcome is ever certain. We cannot ever be 100% certain at how things are going to turn out. I could walk out to my car tomorrow morning and get hit by a truck. Nothing is certain. How do we handle that? How do we deal with uncertainty? So being able to hold uncertainty, aligning your beliefs. Your beliefs are the blueprint to what you are going to receive in this lifetime. If you can't believe that you're worthy or capable of something, you are not going to have it. So you need to align those beliefs in a way that is going to serve you, that is going to get you the life that you want. Emotional intelligence and regulation, understanding what your body is feeling and allowing yourself to move through it and process it, decode it. What you're feeling like, because the problem's never the problem, right? Decoding it and being able to express it in a way that is effective, so people know who you are and you know who you are, right? Otherwise, we're just walking through life being one big bloody reaction. Values, standards. Who are you being? What is your identity? And this is where human design comes into it, because a lot of us have been playing the roles, wearing the masks for so long now, we actually have friggin' forgotten who we are and what it is that we're here to do. So human design helps you to get back in touch with that. And that's a really good base to build your identity on. Who are you going to decide to be in this lifetime? Worthiness, knowing that you are freaking worthy. You were born worthy and nothing has changed. So knowing that you're worthy, but why we believe we're not, moving through that stuff. And then last but not least, energy. What you put out is what you get back. And that is key. Our reality is a reflection of what we think we deserve and what we're capable of. And we need to understand that our energy needs to change first before our external reality is going to change. It's like looking in the mirror and wanting the mirror to smile. It's not going to. We need to smile first for it to reflect back to us. It's kind of like, I was thinking about this the other day. It's kind of like, you're wanting to lose weight, and it's kind of like looking in the mirror and saying, well, get friggin' skinny then, and then I'll do the work. Then I'll watch what I eat. Then I'll do the exercise. No, you have to be the one that changes what you eat and exercise first before it's going to reflect back the person who you want to be. That's how reality works. So understanding all of that. So that's the 7 slays. So that is pretty much the masterclass. Now I want to just share with you some of the amazeballs offers I have for people who have exclusive for people who have watched this masterclass. Okay, so offer number 1. I only have 4 spots left for this one. Weekly divine guidance. So what this is, it is a personalized monthly subscription service. For $33 a month, I dive into your PMs every weekend and I do an oracle card reading or a tarot card reading. And it's personalized to you. I'm thinking of you and your energy as I'm shuffling the cards and asking what it is that you need to know. And then that message I put straight into your PMs. It can range anything from 8 minutes to 12 minutes, depending on what the message is. But you will get that every week for a year. So $33 a month, it works out to be like maybe $7, $8 a reading. Like that, it's high touch, high value monthly subscription. $33 a month. Like that's your lunch money for a day, right? And I've had some awesome feedback from this already. So I have already got 11 ladies in this subscription program and they are loving it. Another amazing reading, Kerry, spot on, personalized readings, keeps me aligned. Thank you, awesome reading. Thanks so much. Like so much positive feedback. And that's not even the voice messages that I get every week from these women. It's a beautiful way to tune in to the divine through me every week. So if that is something that interests you, please PM me or email me at kerry@operationabundancehd.com.au. That's my email address. Okay. Offer number 2 that I have is, now these offers are going to require trust because they have actually not been fully created yet. I have conceptualized them, but I have not put slides together or done any videos on them yet. This is why they are such a good bargain, because I don't actually know fully what they look like yet. But if these offers, they call to you, they sing to you, they light you up, then trust that it's for you and bag it at a bargain price, early bird. And it's such a good price because I want to repay your trust in yourself. Okay. So next is called Talk the Talk. Know what you feel, mean what you say, mastering communication and building better relationships. This is going to be available in November. So we have some time. But what this program is going to be, it's going to be a pre-recorded program, which is going to have offers of one-on-ones and human design in there as well, if you want to add things onto it. But what this is going to include is how to have better relationships through better communication. So we are going to be talking all about attachment theory, attachment styles, John Bowlby, the Gottmans, that's the name that eluded me last night, I couldn't remember. It's going to be very research-based around attachment themes, the do's and don'ts of relationships, how to have better communication with your kids, why we get triggered and why we can't communicate effectively because our emotions get in the way, why we fall into these horrible relationship patterns. What does anxious attachment look like, and what does avoidant attachment look like, and why do they attract each other? Like all the things. This is not only going to serve you in having better relationships with your kids, your partners, your work colleagues, um, everyone in general. It's going to help you to be able to help other people understand their relationship stuff as well. So it's probably going to be around 12 to 14 20-minute modules with workbooks, plus other options to work through things one-on-one with me. Instead of $777, which is what I think this is going to go for. Again, I don't know. It's all about trusting. You can pick this up for $397. The program that I was enrolled in to learn this stuff cost over $3,000 for me to do. So really, really brilliant value. You get all my knowledge for $397. Bargain. Bargain. Last offer, my new program. The afternoon shift is going to be phased out or changed. I don't quite know what I'm going to do with it yet, but it's going to be replaced with this program called the 7 Slaves to Life, my new signature program. This is the early, but this will not be at this price again. So if what I talk about lights you up, if you want to move through fear, if you want to align your beliefs, if you want to understand uncertainty and know how to hold it, if you want to be in touch with your emotions and know how to communicate them and work through them effectively and process them, if you want to know who you are, if you want to know that you are worthy of it, which is the basis of your belief systems, and understand that what you put out is what you get back, this is the program for you. So it's going to be pre-recorded content dropped into your emails. It will be maybe 6 months, maybe 8 months. Not sure yet. As I say, these are all conceptualized. It's going to take a bit of faith on your part. It's going to be level 1, 2, and 3 human design readings to help you to understand who you are more. I love human design. That's not going to change. I'm always going to incorporate human design. Fortnightly group calls to help to consolidate and understand and work through questions that are going to come up while you're doing this program, because shit is going to come up. I'm not even going to candy coat it. If it's easy, you're not doing it right. So that stuff is going to come up, but it's going to clear your filter of what you believe is possible for you in this lifetime, is what it's going to do. Sometimes when we need to stir things up and pour it out, it gets a bit messy. So expect stuff to come up, but it's so powerful and so worth it. Options for one-on-ones, if you really want to work through things, there is going to be like a one-on-one a month while you're in the container. And there's going to be messenger support. So if you are coming up against something, just go, wow, Kerry, I just did your module on the tribal cycle, and that has brought up some stuff for me. I need to do a one-on-one. There is going to be that option in there as well. So that's going to start in October. So you've got time. This is going to go for $5,555. For the early birds who jump on this offer, $3,333. Okay, payment plans available, all the things, but jump on it now. You've got until Saturday. Saturday, what date are we? Because I was going to do it until Friday, but then, obviously this is taking a bit of time to get out to everyone because I've had to redo it. So end of, let's say 5 o'clock Saturday, the 27th. Okay. That's the window of opportunity if you want to get in on this offer. Okay. So those are the offers that I have. Please, let's stay together. Let's stay connected, because I love you. I love you guys. So let's stay together. If you have any questions, any feedback, any shares, see what I did? Any shares, any aha moments, again, see what I did? I do that at the end of every coaching session. It's a little weird and we get cheap laughs out of it, but that's okay. So let's stay together. So Facebook, personal page, best way to get in contact with me or to see what I'm all about, because I'm always sharing stuff on my personal page. And my business page, Operation Abundance HD, is my business name. You can see me on Instagram. I'm not on Instagram as much as I should be, but I'm trying. and email, of course. Kerry@operationabundancehd.com.au is the best way to contact me. Thank you so much for your time and participation. Please, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments below, or please send me an email or a PM, or put it on the Facebook group, whatever it is that is aligned for you on any of those offers. The monthly, the weekly subscription, that's $33 a month. The communication program, which is $397, gangbusters for what you are going to get out of that program. Oh my God. I did it with my group coaching clients, and they said it was the best content I've ever churned out. And I've churned out some pretty freaking epic content, let me tell you. And then, of course, the big kahuna, the big signature program, the 7 slays, $3,333, which is for what you learn. I have spent, I don't even want to tell you how much I've spent on my education, well over $70,000 on my education in the last 3 years. You get all of the benefits of what I have learned for $3,333. Like, that is a bargain basement offer. You got to jump on it. Payment plans, all the things, whatever you need, please contact me. I am here for you. That is all from me. Thank you so much for your participation and for taking part. And if you have any questions, please let me know. But until then, my little love muffins, I will see you on the Facebooks in the expansion project. And yeah, I will see you on the Facebooks and the interwebs. All right, guys, have a great one. Bye.